Fred Carroll lives in Branford, Connecticut, and is a lifelong resident there, and a father of three. He began his writing hobby as a novice screenwriter and polished his talents through years of edits and rewrites. As an avid reader, specifically Stephen King, Dean Koontz, and Clive Baker, he moved forward into his new hobby as a novelist. A very close friend and muse to Fred, Dr. Richard Seltzer, is the man that gave him the confidence and the approval to become a writer. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Fred Carroll.
When did you decide to become a writer?
Well, first, I didn't really make a decision, a conscious decision. I had started I like movies a lot. Movies are my thing. And I like screenplays, writing screenplays. And in about 2008, I had a major knee injury. And that's when I first started sitting down and started my first book, Emily Anonymous. But that's after I had already written a few movies and such.
Okay. And then, what all have you written? I know you just said you've written screenplays and just your books that you're writing, but are there other things that you've written prior to the screenplays, or?
Well, I was in music for a long time, so I was always into lyrics. I wrote a lot of lyrics. I still write a lot of songs, lyrically at least. I guess you would consider them poetry almost. I don't release that stuff, and I just save it for if there's ever music to it. But screenplays, I still write all my books as movies at the same time, so I own both rights. But I don't know which one I prefer any longer. I like them both because there's a whole different balance. It's two different types of writing.
Okay.
In a book, you describe the girl. In a movie, she's just a girl. So you lose the description, but you get joy in the action.
Okay. What do you classify the genre of book that you write?
Well, so this is my third book. At the Edge of Evergreens is my third book, and it's my third genre out of the three. So I don't settle into any, but I think this is my best writing. But I think like anything in life, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So this one is, I labeled it paranormal romance. I wouldn't necessarily call it romance. It's just got a ghost story and a love story. So that's the two that came. My second book, Dead Flowers, was a straight murder mystery and very graphic and kind of brutal enough to where my parents weren't allowed to read it. And they didn't. And my first book, Emily Anonymous, is about a tough subject of suicide, but it's an anti-suicide book and a personal thing that I don't struggle with it at all, but I am very involved with teenagers, trying to stop this from happening.
Okay. Do you know what the genre of book is going to be before you start writing it, or do you write it and then figure it out later?
I don't label it at all. I write the story, and wherever it lies, it lies. I don't even think about it.
I figured that.
Yeah.
Okay. Out of everything that you've written, the books that you've written, which one would you consider your favorite, or all three of them your favorite right now?
Well, as the author, I hate them all. And that's the problem. It's probably a blessing and a struggle at the same time, because of course, after I type the end, I always think I could have done better. It's self-doubt or whatever, or I read something. If I make a mistake, I love making mistakes. I'm weird like that. I love human flaw. I like human error. So I leave my mistakes purposely. People have pointed out a few errors in my books, and I purposely don't change them. I collect books that have mistakes in them. I love mistakes.
Okay.
Probably because I was married at one time. So that's a mistake in general.
I have tended to agree with you on that. When I said when I got divorced, it'll never happen again.
Yeah,
And it hasn't.
I won't even go to church anymore. Last time I went, he married me. I'm afraid to go back.
Married.
but,
That's cute. I like that. I like that.
but so I don't have a favorite, but this new story, At the Edge of Evergreens, is very personal to me because it's not, it's based off true people. And,
Okay.
I really did work at a place that the story is about. And I really did meet a man who is a very famous author in his own right. He's passed on since, and is my he's my guru. He's my best friend. I love the guy. He's the one that gave me permission to call myself an author. He edited all my stories. He was very elderly, and we just became great friends. So I tried to write something that would make him proud, even though he can't read it unless you believe in the true afterlife and stuff. But his wife read it, and I'm very close with her. And some of his he was the head of the creative writing classes at Yale University, and he was also a surgeon and a author. So he was very successful. He's had plays written about his books, and he was very dark in his own way. And this was my gift to him.
Okay. Okay. And I know you make mention of him in the front of the book. Your acknowledgement.
Changed his name in the character from Seltzer to Seller.
Right.
And no specific reason. Nobody in it is really a true person. Everything else is created. And that's how I did it.
Good. Okay. All right. So, where are you originally from? Like when you were a kid, where did you grow up? Did you have the normal life? High school, sports, all that stuff?
Well, I grew up here in Connecticut. Moved to North Carolina for 6 years, but came back to Connecticut. It's like Hotel California. Can't check out. But I've stayed here most of my life, and I'm a single father. I'm a single parent. I have one child left at home that I can't wait to leave the house and go to college. And I've raised them, and I put my dreams on hold. I knew I always wanted to be in the movie business at least, but I would have been in LA by now writing, but unfortunately and fortunately, I had a job to do. I had a priority.
Right. Okay, if you were not a writer, what do you think you would have been?
I don't know. I remember you had asked me this question in the written form, and I don't even remember what I wrote. But I'm going to assume that, just going back to, not that I'm that old, but I don't recall having big dreams or anything, or any guidance towards these certain goals. But I've always had the movies and probably baseball and stuff like that, all the little kid typical dreams. But nothing sticks out to where I was striving to be this.
Okay.
So.
Okay, what job would you not ever want to do? And I do remember that answer.
See, and I don't, but I know I wrote it, but
no. What job? What do you think? What would you ever want to be? An accountant, probably.
Well, that just sounds boring.
That's a given, right?
Yeah. But I probably said I wouldn't ever want to be the president.
That was it.
Yeah, of the United States. It's not a glamorous job any longer. It used to be. We used to tell children if you were smart enough, you could be the president of the United States.
That's right.
Now, I wouldn't wish that on my enemy. So.
Okay, what advice would you give new writers, new authors coming into the business, since you've been around with the screenplay writing and now an author yourself and music and all of that? What advice would you give them?
Well, I would tell them they better have some the reviews, the review process, you have to take the good and the bad, and you have to separate. Like, I like strangers that leave reviews because my sister's gonna give me a good review. My friends are gonna give me a good review. Well, some of them. I mean, some of them will be honest and blunt with you. I love feedback. So when I get a 3 star, I'll reach out to that person and ask them what specifically didn't they like or did they like, and I'll thank them for it. I like honesty. Just tell the truth. I know people give you 5 stars. 5 stars would be a perfect novel, the epic, it's going to last forever. I haven't written that yet, but I appreciate the 5 star. Keep giving them to me.
Okay. True.
But you have to have some thickness to your skin, and you can't take it too personal. And I do. It bothers me, but you have to separate, because you can get too high with the good one and too low with the bad one, and you just can't please everyone. Some people want more story, some people want less story, some want description, some don't. I don't go into great description of my characters because I want you to create them in your mind, but that's the movie side of me.
Okay. Right. Okay. And I know we touched on it just a little bit earlier when you were talking about being a father and raising your son. What does the future hold for you? What are your plans, in the next 5, 10 years from now?
Well, in the next 5, 10 years. So I'm going to keep writing these books and getting them out there. My next book is going to be probably I've got a children's book that's coming out. So now I'm in another genre.
Okay.
This will be for 5th grade, 6th grade, and I'm hoping to create a serial where they come out every 2-3 months. Okay. Little short stories about the same group of children. And in between, write novels. Well, I've never even written a complete novel yet. All my books have been novellas. Mm-hmm. I haven't found the novel story in me yet. And part of it's my fault, because if I don't keep writing every day, I get tired of the story, because I already know the ending in my mind. I know the beginning, the middle, the end. And sometimes if I let it stew too long and take too long to write, I forget that you don't know that the end. And I'll skip a part that in my mind I'd be like, well, they should know that. And it's a common mistake that I make, and I'm getting better at it. I think all 3 books show a difference I have fans out there that like the first book better than the second better than the first, but I'm just building a brand at this point. And I don't know what I'm going to be doing in 5 to 10 years. Because if I hit the lottery tonight, I might hang up on you and never even write another thing.
There you go. That's true. But your end game that you're wanting to eventually do is, continue writing your books, but you're wanting to move back to Los Angeles and get back into the screen?
Well, I've never lived in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I've never even visited Los Angeles,
okay.
But that was what I should have been doing.
Gotcha.
And would have done if I didn't have custody of my children. I won't end up in LA right away, but I want to continue to be a writer, and you don't need to be in LA anymore to be a writer with the internet and all that.
Correct.
I just want to write, and specifically, I would like to be in movies on that side of the writing, but I'm going to continue with the books regardless of sales, regardless of reviews, it's just something I have to do. Okay. Or I'll drive myself insane. I've got stories in my head and they're spinning. I'm thinking of one right now.
Right. Never stops.
Yes, it's about toilet paper.
But exactly. And then you have characters screaming and yelling in your head, letting you know that, hey, we need to tell this story.
Yeah.
Now, you had mentioned that you write a screenplay with your books.
Yeah, so I write the movie version of all my books. It's just something. They're more rough drafts of movies. They're not edited and finished and completed. I don't go back over them, but it's in case somebody ever did option it and want to option it. I'd like to be the writer.
Okay.
Usually when a book is optioned, they hire a screenwriter
Right.
to write what they see in the book. I'd like to be the writer, like Seth Graham Smith, who wrote Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer
Love
and
that
stuff
movie.
like that.
Love that
Uh,
movie.
he does a lot of screenplays, so and he writes the books. So
Okay. Do you put your stuff out there, the screenplays, like advertise that they're available, or you just are
yeah,
waiting for someone to come knock on your door?
no, that would be more so.